In a world full of sorcerers, there is a man whom people call the Demon Lord, Varvatos. His friends could never see him as a normal person, so he wished to be defeated by them, so they would realize he was human like them. However, those who could surpass him had all died. When he stood before the corpse of one of his friends, he decided to move to another world. One day, a couple was celebrating their son's 10th birthday, a boy named Ard Meteor. Thus, the one who was once known as the Demon Lord was reincarnated into another world as Ard Meteor. Ard thought to himself, I don't know whether to consider this good or bad luck, but the level of education and magic in this world is extremely weak compared to mine. My health has improved, my stamina and physical fitness have increased, so I became skilled in martial arts without any effort. Then he went up to his room, thinking about forming normal friendships, people who wouldn't always look at him with fear. He heard some children's voices, so he looked out the window and saw them playing. He thought to himself, in my world, it was impossible for anyone to talk to me directly. Come on, talk to me, I'll allow it. But when they saw him, they got scared and ran away. He thought, I guess even after moving to another world, my intimidating aura still surrounds me. However, he didn't lose hope and decided to take the initiative next time. He saw some girls walking by and decided to ask them to be his friends. But he felt extremely nervous, his stomach hurt, and his facial expressions scared them, making them run away. He quickly stopped them and said, be my friends, and we shall rule half the world. But they remained terrified and ran off. Feeling hopeless, he thought to himself, I am the Demon Lord. I conquered countless nations, buried numerous heroes and slaughtered leaders. Yet I can't get a few human children to do what I want. So, he went into the forest to release his frustration, destroying trees with magic. But then he decided to stop before he disrupted the ecological balance. At sunset, he sat by the house door, where his father's friend Mr. Olhide appeared and said, you look really down. Ard replied, I don't know how to make any friends. Olhide responded, I'll tell you a very simple way. Ard asked, a spell? A high-level strategic tactic? Olhide laughed and said neither. No matter the person or the timing, always remember to be kind and respectful. Ard got excited and quickly went to try the method. He asked the children playing outside, can I play with you? Then he approached the girls and asked, can I get to know you? But they already saw him as creepy and got scared again. So, he returned to the forest and told himself, I think I should just destroy this world. Just then, monsters appeared behind him, so he burned them. Then he heard a girl scream and immediately flew toward the sound, finding her fighting a massive, fierce wolf. She cast a fireball at it, but it was too weak against the beast. At the same time, Olhide told Jack and Carla, Ard's parents, since then my daughter has isolated herself because of all the talk and bullying she faced. She even refuses to speak to me, despite being her father. Meanwhile, the girl cast a lightning spell at the wolf, this time managing to kill it. Then she noticed Ard's presence and grew frightened. She asked, what do you want? He replied, I saw your fighting skills, and they were amazing. She recoiled in disgust, and he thought, is she the type who doesn't like to boast about her power? My compliments are backfiring. He then said, it might be rude of me to say this, but I think you still have a long way to go in refining your strength. She got upset at his words, and he thought, I went too far. Complimenting and critiquing aren't working. What do I do? Then he said, if you want, we can be friends. She snapped, don't be ridiculous. There's no way someone like you could understand me. You don't know anything about me. She burst into tears and ran off, returning to her father, Olhide, who was saying goodbye to Jack and about to leave. Ard got home feeling defeated, only to be shocked when he realized she was Olhide's daughter. The next day, he kept chasing after her, persistently trying to befriend her, but she kept running away and refusing. That night, while she was training in the forest, Ard appeared and said, I know you come here to let out your anger, Irina, so I came to take you home. She ignored him and ran off. Ard returned to his room, thinking of a plan to make Irina agree to be his friend. Suddenly, he heard screams from the village. Rushing outside, he found a group of goblins attacking the villagers. His father, Jack, came out to fight them, saying, go hide in the house! Olhide then appeared and pleaded, Jack, please help me. Irina is in the mountains and hasn't returned yet. Ard blamed himself, thinking, it's my fault. She went to the mountains because I was chasing her. He told Olhide, leave this to me, and flew at high speed toward the forest. At the same time, Irina was surrounded by goblins deep in the forest. She dropped her weapon and told the goblin leader, I have no friends or family. She recalled the words people used to say about her as a child, Irina is a monster, terrifying. She threw her weapon away and told the goblins, do whatever you want. They leapt at her, and she screamed, somebody help me. Suddenly, a barrier formed around her, pushing the goblins away. Ard landed and said, I came to save you from these weaklings. She shouted, run away, or they'll get you too. But Ard cast a lightning spell, instantly killing most of them. He told the leader, "You won't lay a finger on Irina or me. If you flee now, I'll spare you." The leader ordered the remaining goblins to attack, but with a single glance, Ard reduced them all to ashes. The leader panicked and tried to escape, but Ard incinerated him as well. Meanwhile, Jack told Olhide, "Ard hasn't returned yet." Olhide reassured him, "I'm sure he'll be fine. He promised to bring Irina back, and I trust him." Jack then asked, "By the way, wasn't flight magic supposed to be a lost skill?" At the same time, Ard asked Irina, "Are you okay?" She replied, "Why did you save me? I wanted to die." He said, "Please don't say such sad things." She responded, "You'll never understand my feelings. I'm alone and isolated." Ard told her, "I have no idea what led you to this, but I understand more than anyone the suffering that comes from solitude. That's why I want to be your friend." She snapped, "You're a liar! You'll betray me one day?" He said, "I won't betray you. I won't betray a friend again. A long time ago, I betrayed my dearest friend, and that's why I want our friendship to be eternal." She replied, "I'm selfish, not smart, and not fun to be around." He smiled and said, "That's not true. I enjoy talking to you." Thus, the greatest demon lord in history, Varvatos, gained a lifelong friend and lived happily ever after. Sometime later, Irina entered Ard's room and asked, "What do you think about enrolling in the Magic Academy?" The next day, they went to the academy, and Count Goldie, the academy director, welcomed them, saying, "You both possess an exceptional aura, just as I expected from the children of the three heroes." Ard thought to himself, "It's true that Irina is the heir of a respected baron, but my parents are just ordinary villagers." Goldie then said, "I have heard tales of your great adventures. I was told that you took down hundreds of goblins during the demon attack. Because of that, we will exempt you from the practical entrance exams, but at the very least, you must take the written test." Later, they went to check their results, and Irina found that she had scored very high, but they couldn't find Ard's name. He thought to himself, "I knew there was a problem. The questions were way too easy. Was it a trap?" But then Irina saw his name on the board, and they found that he had scored a 0 on the test. Director Gold appeared and said, "Congratulations on passing. Ard, your answers were truly exceptional and perfect." Ard replied, "I don't understand what you mean. I got a 0 on the test." Gold said, "Yes, because all your answers were wrong, but only by modern ideological standards. In short, your answers were far beyond what was expected. Even 6th-tier sorcerers wouldn't be able to think of the improvements you wrote down. Thanks to you, we may be able to create magic circles of special classifications. Students, you are fortunate to study alongside this young man, the genius who inherited the blood of the great sorcerer Jack Meteor, and his wife Carla, who destroyed the evil leader." Then, Ard and Irina entered the classroom and found a large crowd of students around them, all wanting to be their friends. Suddenly, Ard heard a student yelling at a girl, saying, "How could a weak girl like you enter this school?" He then struck her, causing her to fall to the ground. Irina stepped in and told him, "Get away from her." The boy responded, "I am Eraldo Spencer. Even a rural girl like you must have heard of the Spencer Duchy. This girl belongs to a family that serves mine, that makes her my servant, and you have no right to interfere in our affairs." Ard stepped in and said, "You're mistaken if you think that gives you the right to do whatever you want. Apologize to her now." Eraldo smirked and said, "If you can defeat me in a duel, I'll listen to you then." Irina warned Ard, "That boy is strong enough to be the youngest person to ever earn a 4th-tier rank in the kingdom." Just then, the teacher walked in and asked, "What's going on here?" Ard was shocked and thought to himself, "I know that voice, that's Olivia, one of the strongest generals of the Demon Lord. Why is she here?" Olivia looked at him and asked, "Are you the cause of this commotion?" He replied, "Yes," thinking to himself, "She must be furious that I suddenly abandoned my duties and chose to move to another world. If she finds out that I am Varvatos, she'll destroy me." Olivia then said, "In any case, I will allow your duel." Later, in the arena, Eraldo launched a lightning spell at Ard, but it had no effect. Everyone was stunned that he blocked the attack without any incantation. Eraldo then hurled fireballs at him, saying, "I'm surprised you're still standing after taking my mega flame head on." Ard replied, "Pretending is foolish, though I understand. I also went through the same thing a long time ago. I used to give my weak spells embarrassing names, and put on a big show when casting them, but lying like that will only make you miserable." Eraldo grew angry and unleashed a massive barrage of fireballs, but Ard blocked them effortlessly without moving. A student gasped, "He's blocking Eraldo's Giga Flame with ease!" Ard said, "This spell is just a rapid-fire release of ordinary flames. It's not a Giga Flame. Let me show you the true meaning of Giga Flame." He then unleashed an overwhelming inferno, causing Eraldo to panic and surrender. He quickly apologized to the girl he had insulted. Ard stopped the flames and found that Eraldo was unharmed. Olivia looked at him and said, "You cast another spell on him besides the flames, didn't you?" Ard replied, "I surrounded him with a mega barrier while controlling the giga flame. Otherwise, he would have been reduced to ashes." Olivia responded, "In other words, you cast a dual incantation." Ard said, "What's the problem?" He then looked around and noticed everyone staring at him in shock and fear. Olivia said, "In this era, a dual incantation like that is considered a lost skill. That's common knowledge to everyone. Tell me, why are you capable of using a lost skill like this, and why are you ignorant of basic things in this era?" She then walked away, saying, "One day, I will uncover your truth." Later, Olivia gathered the students and said, "Form teams of 3 for the field training." The students crowded around Ard and Irina, eager to join them, but Irina walked over to the girl Araldo had insulted and said, "Join us. What's your name?" The girl replied, "Jenny." The teacher then told them, "Your mission is to kill a black wolf, separate its hide from its flesh, and bring it back." One student exclaimed, "That's a B-plus ranked monster. You're basically sending us to our deaths." Olivia then glanced at Ard and said, "For you this mission should be extremely easy, right?" Ard took Irina and Jenny and left. They soon encountered 5 wolves. Jenny was terrified, while Ard and Irina burned them effortlessly. Jenny then said, "I'm sorry, all I do is hold you back." Ard replied, "I can teach you and help you regain confidence in yourself." She got excited and agreed. Ard ignited a fire spell, and Jenny tried to mimic him but failed, saying, "I'm useless." Ard told her, "No, succubi are a type of demon with high magical aptitude." She replied, "Then I must be a special failure among succubi." Ard said, "Don't give up, I still have another skill to teach you." Just then, a wolf appeared behind him. Ard said, "A perfect time to show you this technique. It's a method of accelerating spell activation by deploying simple magic circles in the air. I call it script magic." Irina said, "I've never seen or heard of that before." Ard responded, "Of course not, because I invented it." They were both stunned. Ard explained, "I developed this technique to simplify spellcasting. It works by using the natural energy around us as a power source, so it consumes no magical energy and isn't affected by the caster's condition." Jenny tried it and successfully cast a spell. Suddenly, the ground collapsed beneath them, and the 3 fell into a lower level, where the monster leader appeared. Ard said, "We'll use him to continue our lesson on script magic." The monster swung its hammer at Ard, but he stopped it with a single finger. He then told them, "To use script magic, you need to create distance between yourself and the enemy." He struck the monster, and sent it flying, then used script magic to obliterate it. He turned to Jenny and said, "Now, finish it off, gather your courage, and say goodbye to your past. If you want to change, show your determination right now." Jenny stood up, used script magic, and defeated the monster leader. When they returned, the teacher said to Ard, "I need to talk to you." She took him to the director, who said, "I want you to participate in the student battle event, which our queen will attend, and deliver an outstanding performance before her." Ard replied, "With all due respect, I refuse." The director said, "This academy is a national institution, and the upcoming event is our chance to request a larger budget from the queen." Ard responded, "So, you want to use me as a tool to secure financial support? Forgive me, but I believe the purpose of magic is to help those in need, not for showmanship, even if it's for budget reasons, because that," Olivia interrupted him, saying, "goes against your aesthetic philosophy. I had a foolish little brother who used to say the same thing, even though he left for another world, without asking anyone. Unfortunately, I never got the chance to ask him what those aesthetics meant." Ard then asked the director, "Can you give me some time to think?" Olivia said, "I will investigate your origins, son of the great sorcerer." Later, he ran into Jenny, who asked him to go out with her. Irina got jealous and said, "I want to go out with you too." Jenny replied, "I don't mind." While walking, they overheard voices in a hallway saying, "The queen will soon be in our hands. Once the magic circle is complete, she won't escape unharmed." They followed the voices underground. Ard, Jenny, and Irina tracked them, and Ard noticed a magic circle drawn on the wall. He said, "I think I understand what's happening." Members of the group suddenly appeared behind them. Ard said, "So, this was a trap." The group's leader smirked and said, "You swallowed the bait easily, and now your lives are in our hands." Ard replied, "I don't think you actually planned to kill us. If that were the case, you would have attacked from behind. Instead, you deliberately had a suspicious conversation to lure us here. That means you intend to capture us alive." The leader grew irritated and activated the magic circle, engulfing Ard in flames. He said, "We only need to keep our target alive." But he was shocked when he saw that the flames had no effect on Ard. Ard smirked and said, the trap you prepared poses no threat to me. He then cast a lightning spell on their magic circle, breaking the wall. Using lightning magic again, he electrocuted them all except for the leader. Ard said, I left you conscious on purpose. If you confess why you targeted us, I won't be harsh with you. Suddenly, their leader transformed into a demon, created an opening in the ceiling, and flew out. Ard flew after him, unleashed fire magic, and burned him. But the flames extinguished, and the demon grabbed a little girl to use as a hostage. Ard thought, this will spread panic in the city. He turned to the citizens and said, I am Ard Meteor, son of the great sorcerer Jack Meteor, and I will defeat this demon now. The demon sneered, I have a hostage. Ard said, where? When did you start hallucinating that you had a hostage? The demon looked at his hand and found nothing. He asked, what did you do? Ard replied, just a simple illusion spell. That said, the quality of demons has seriously declined. The demon launched a lightning spell at Ard, but it didn't hit him. When he tried to escape, Ard eliminated him. The citizens were amazed and cheered for him. The next day, the queen summoned them to the palace. Irina said to her, it's been a long time, Ro. Everyone was shocked at how rudely she spoke to the queen. Irina then said, Ro and I are friends, and I won't lower my head without reason. The queen laughed and said, you haven't changed at all. She then turned to everyone and declared, Irina is my friend. I permit her bluntness and honesty, and I won't tolerate any criticism of her. She then told Ard, I summoned you today to reward you. Ard thought to himself, how does a commoner address a queen in situations like this? Well, back when I was the Demon King, I always summoned the rulers of nations, but this is my first time facing one as a commoner. The queen then said, your achievement deserves a reward, and I am impressed with you, so, you will be my husband. Her aide exclaimed, have you lost your mind? Irina shouted, no way, that's not happening. The queen chuckled and said, let's consider it a joke for now. Regarding your reward, I will promote you to a 5th-tier sorcerer. Everyone objected, saying, how can a mere villager attain such a rank? Ard replied, with all due respect, it would be better if you granted me a humble request instead of that. I want an increase in the budget of Laville National Magic Academy. The queen asked, is that all you want? What do you gain from it? Ard answered, I see it as a way to express my gratitude to Count Goldie, who takes great care of us. The queen said, you prioritize gratitude over personal gain. You are humble and kind. I admire you even more now. As a reward, I will grant you the 5th-tier rank, increase the academy's budget, and also promote Irina to the 5th tier. However, in return, you both must join the Queen's Shadows, the special unit that operates directly under my command. Her aide protested, we can't grant a 5th-tier rank to Olhide's daughter. The queen responded, that's not an issue. She would have reached that rank sooner or later anyway. At sunset, the leader of the group that Ard defeated said, Ard demonstrated power beyond what we imagined, the son of the great sorcerer. We now know the extent of his strength, but even so, he will never be a match for that monster. Another member asked, can we really trust that woman? A third member replied, there's no need to worry. That woman intends to destroy the world. The leader then said, all of this is for the sake of restoring the world to its rightful order, under our mighty Lord's rule. The next day, Director Gold told a girl named Jessica, Ard refused to participate in the battle event. She replied, the queen promised to increase the budget, so that won't be an issue. Gold said, actually, it's not just that, I wanted him to begin teaching at our academy. But there will be many opponents to the idea, especially the nobles who have become teachers. They would never accept a commoner's son as an instructor. I thought that if Ard delivered an outstanding performance in the event, the nobles wouldn't be able to oppose him. Jessica said, leave that to me. That night, Jessica approached Ard and told Jenny and Irina, why don't you participate in the upcoming event? If you carve your way through and deliver an outstanding performance, Ard's path to becoming a teacher will succeed. The role of a student no longer suits him, so he must join the instructors. If you succeed in the event and win, since Ard trained you, it will serve as proof of his leadership ability. The next day, the event began with a match between two female students. The three heroes, Carla, Jack and Olhide, were commenting on the matches. Olhide said, Li Ming's skill in offensive magic is truly impressive, and her opponent, Lizzie, is displaying great cunning, so it's hard to tell who will win. Olivia told Ard, these two students are truly amazing and talented enough that Alvardo wants to take them as his disciples. Ard replied, I've never met Alvardo before, so I wouldn't know. The match ended with Lizzie's victory. Then it was Irina's turn against another student. Ard wished for Irina to lose without serious injuries. Her opponent launched a fireball at her, but Irina dodged it. She then activated script magic, surrounding her opponent with magic circles and striking her with lightning, winning the match. On her way out of the arena, Jenny was coming in for her turn and told Irina, "Well done." Irina replied, "We'll meet in the finals, so hold out until then." They both continued winning all their matches and advanced to the finals. The announcer said, "Irina has displayed remarkable talent." Olhide recalled her childhood, when everyone bullied her, and told the announcer, "I believe Ard's guidance had a major impact on her. He has been teaching her since the day they met. I find it frightening that Ard possesses such leadership skills." Then it was time for Jenny and Irina's match, and everyone was excited for it. The referee signaled the start, but suddenly, a member of the group appeared among the audience. The girl next to him screamed as he transformed into a demon. More hidden demons revealed themselves. The audience panicked and fled as explosions erupted in the building. Jessica told Ard, "It seems this isn't the only place they decided to cause chaos. There's no time to investigate. We have to split up. I'll take Irina and Jenny to handle this. You and Olivia go save the city." They split up, and Jenny and Irina eliminated many demons. Suddenly, a diamond monster appeared before them, and their magic had no effect on it. Then, Baron Olhide appeared, attacked it with wind magic, and shattered it. Suddenly, Jessica stabbed Olhide from behind. Irina cried out, "Why did you do that, Jessica?" Jessica smirked and said, "I'm not Jessica, unfortunately. My real name is Elzard, Queen of Dragons. And the purpose of all this is to capture you, Irina." Irina was terrified, and Elzard said, "There's no need to be afraid. It's not in our interest for you to die. If you come with us quietly, we won't kill you." Jenny attacked her, saying, "I'll distract her. Run, Irina!" But with a single blow, Elzard sent Jenny flying. As she moved in to finish her off, Irina grabbed her and said, "Don't hurt my friend." Elzard struck Irina hard in the back with her elbow, knocking her to the ground. Irina gasped, "Take me, but if you harm Jenny, I'll bite my tongue and kill myself." Elzard spread her wings, took Irina, and flew away. Olhide woke up in the hospital and found Ard treating him. He asked, "What happened?" Ard replied, "Irina was kidnapped by the Dragon Queen Elzard, who nearly destroyed the world thousands of years ago, the beast who rivals demons and evil rulers." Ard then said, "Don't worry, I'll rescue her." Gold interjected, "But even with your strength, it's impossible to fight the Dragon Queen." Ard replied, "The word impossible doesn't exist in my vocabulary." Olhide said, "I have something for you." He took Ard to the royal treasury and said, "Take whatever you need." Ard then prepared for battle. Jack asked Olhide, "Are you sure?" Olhide replied, "We have no choice but to rely on him." Jack said, "That's not what I meant. Aren't you going to tell him about you and Irina?" Olhide sighed. Meeting Ard pulled Irina out of her isolation. To her, every outsider was a source of fear. She realized on her own that we couldn't hide our secret forever. But Irina changed after meeting Ard, and even though it was because he didn't know the truth about us, I couldn't bring myself to tell him. How could I take away the only friend Irina has ever found? Meanwhile, Irina was dreaming of the day she met Ard when she asked him, "You won't betray or hate me no matter what happens, right?" He had replied, "I promise that will never happen." Then he added, "By the way, I have a quick question. Can you tell me the truth about yourself?" When she did, he disappeared in front of her. She suddenly woke up and found herself restrained. The Dragon Queen smirked and asked, "How are you feeling? Shall we begin the plan now? I need the blood running through your veins." Irina was shocked and asked, "How do you know my secret?" Elzard summoned a monster called the Orphan of Chaos and said, "This was created from the flesh of an evil ruler, whom the demon lord Varvatos tore apart long ago. By sacrificing the blood of the evil rulers that runs through your veins to this beast, I can summon one of them from the dimension where they were sealed." Irina asked, "Why do you want to do that?" Elzard laughed and said, "Because I want to destroy this world that has become filled with the nonsense of love, bonds, and friendship. That has been my goal ever since I awakened from thousands of years of slumber." Irina glared at her and said, "We won't let you do that. Ard will come for me. He will save me." Elzard smirked. True, he possesses inhuman power, but in the end, he is still human. And what do you think will happen if he learns your secret? If he discovers the truth about you, he will despise you and realize that you are a monster. Irina recalled the nightmare she had just seen. Elzard then dispelled the barrier surrounding her, and the monster opened its mouth. At the same time, Ard had finished preparing, wearing armor, and holding a spear. Before he set out, Jenny approached him and said, "I want to go with you." Ard replied, "This battle will be full of danger, so I can't allow you to come." Jenny pleaded, "You gave me strength and made me believe in myself. I thought I had changed, but I still couldn't make friends. I believed that would never change and resigned myself to loneliness. But Irina saved me and accepted me as her friend." Ard smiled and said, "I should be back by dinner, so prepare a meal and wait for us. I'm sure Irina will be hungry when we return. And as for you not being able to make friends, Irina isn't your only friend. I consider you my friend too. When Irina returns, we'll laugh and do silly things together, just like always." Ard flew off. his armor enhancing his speed significantly. Meanwhile, the monsters slowly approached Irina. Elzard laughed and said, "You two are quite the fitting monsters for each other." Suddenly the beast exploded and turned to ash. Ard had arrived with a spectacular entrance. He smirked at Elzard and said, "What a beautiful day, you pests. But this time, you've gone too far, and I won't let any of you escape." He summoned 9 magic circles, obliterating all the demons in the area and breaking Irina's restraints. Elzard grinned and said, "It's been a long time since I've felt this way." Ard reassured Irina, "Don't worry, a lizard like her is no match for me." Elzard sneered, "You must really love these monsters, don't you? That girl isn't what you think she is. She's using the name Ohide now, but that's a false identity. Her real name is Laville. She is of the true royal bloodline, and she carries the blood of the evil rulers." At the same time, Ohide told Jack, due to the strange shifts that happened in the world, everyone sided with the demon lord and despised the rulers. If the world discovers that our family is the true royal bloodline descended from the evil rulers, the entire nation will turn against us. Jack said, "So that's why you rule indirectly by appointing others?" Ohide nodded yes. "Because of that, we were forced to hide our true identities." Meanwhile, Elzard said to Ard, "That is her truth. That's why the Aguilar's organization was hunting her." Ard replied, "None of that matters. It doesn't matter if she's descended from the evil rulers, or if she were an evil ruler herself. What matters is that she's kinder and braver than anyone. She deserves love and respect. To someone like me, she shines like the sun, and you dare call her a monster. I won't forgive you for that." Elzard unleashed a lightning spell at him, but he blocked it with his weapon. She gasped, "You didn't use any defensive magic, is it, because of the spear?" Ard explained, "This spear has the ability to negate lightning-based attack spells." Elzard then launched fire magic at him, but it didn't hit him. Ard smirked, "You're not paying attention to your feet," and cast flame magic from beneath her. She dispelled it, and Ard said, "I believe even the strong need a sense of danger. Until now, you've thought you couldn't die. Let me be clear, nothing in this world is indestructible." He hurled his spear, sending Elzard flying into the sky. She transformed into a massive dragon. Ard created a protective barrier around himself and Irina as Elzard breathed fire on them. Ard told Irina, "I'd prefer if you didn't watch the rest of this fight." He then summoned a glowing girl and said, "Shall we dance for the first time in a while, Lydia?" She fused with him, transforming into a black sword. Ard took flight, and Lydia said, "A magic circle will activate in 2 seconds." Elzard fired a blast at Ard, but he blocked it. Lydia said, "A direct hit is incoming in 3 seconds." Ard said, "Activate acceleration magic. We'll start our counterattack after dodging." He deflected Elzard's attack and told Lydia, "Prepare Alpha Blade." The sword glowed, and Lydia said, "Get ready for Executioner's Beam." Ard unleashed the beam, but Elzard dodged it. Ard then said, "Lydia, prepare the second phase." She replied, now converting the entire body to the Brave Demon, second form. Ard transformed into his Varvatos form, with his white hair and reinforced armor. Elzard fired magical beams at him, but he deflected them back toward her. He said, "I understand everything about you now, not just how you shape your magic, but your inner emotions as well. You hated being cast into loneliness by the world, but I won't forgive you for dragging my friend into your vengeance." He then told Lydia, "Prepare Sigma Blade." He charged an overwhelming, terrifying magical energy and unleashed it upon Elzard, obliterating her. Ard returned to his normal form, approached Irina, and asked, "Will you still be my friend?" She smiled and said, "Of course." Ard said, "Jenny should be preparing dinner, so let's head home quickly." Irina thought to herself, "Ard still called me his friend. Even after learning the truth about me, I must become stronger so I can stand by his side." The next day, a girl named Sylvie Marheaven was training in Dymas, practicing magic. A massive monster appeared before her, so she drew her sword and sliced it in half. She thought to herself, "I've become stronger. Now I can help my big sister Lydia, and she won't have to sacrifice anyone anymore. I need to return to the village. I overdid it by staying in this Dymas for 300 years. When she returned to the village, she was shocked to find everything had changed. She entered a corridor and encountered a person who said, "I'm glad to see you. Your training must have been exhausting. You look worn out. I'm impressed that you spent 3,000 years training." She replied, "What do you mean? I only spent 300 years. He smirked. "You don't know that time flows differently in Dymas." She asked, "Who are you, and how do you know my name?" He said, "I felt like talking to you since we've been friends for a long time." She said, "You feel familiar." He chuckled, "That's natural. I once served Lord Varvatos and Lady Lydia." She quickly asked, "What is Varvatos doing now?" He replied, "He moved to another world. If you want to know where Lydia is, you'd better hurry and ask him. The demon lord abandoned his past and duties. Now he's enjoying a peaceful life under the name Ard Meteor." Meanwhile, Ard and Irina were in Gold's office, where he told them, a month from now, the Academy plans to host a school festival. It will be an opportunity for students to showcase the results of their training, and an important chance to welcome visitors from across the land. We plan to put on a performance and hold a sword fighting competition. I won't force you to participate in the sword fights, but I would like to request that you join the performance. Irina and Jenny agreed to his request, leaving Ard with no choice but to accept. The director handed Ard a scroll and said, "This is a threat letter demanding the festival be cancelled. We receive such harassment every year, but what makes this one different is that it's written on human skin. The sender is the goal head. What I need from you is to participate in the play and protect the school. I'm asking you because I know your capabilities. If anything happens during the event, ordinary students won't stand a chance." Irina reassured him, "Leave it to us, Ard won't lose to a threat like this." Ard objected, "Wait, I can't put you in danger." Irina replied, "Don't worry, Jenny and I will fight alongside you, just focus on showing off your strength." Ard told Gold, "Even so, there aren't enough of us to guard the entire school. We'll need to recruit ordinary students to help." Gold responded, "Olivia is already working on that, and recruiting everyone who can assist you." Later, Sylvie entered Ard's classroom and demanded, "Where is Ard?" Ard was stunned to see her. She stormed into the room asking everyone about him, shouting, "If I find you, I'll beat you up. Show yourself." Olivia smacked her on the head and said, "You haven't changed at all, even after 3,000 years. Ard shook his head and Sylvie spotted him. She asked, "You're Ard. What happened while I was away training? Where is Lydia? What happened to the evil rulers?" Ard replied, "I have no idea what you're talking about." She snapped, "Don't pretend to be foolish. I did my research on you." Olivia raised an eyebrow. "You did research? Tell me the details." Sylvie glared at Ard and said, "If you won't answer me, I'll force you." Ard asked, "I don't understand why you're charging at me with these claims." She sneered, "Is the demon lord running away? You really are pathetic. If I were in your place, my shame would prevent me from continuing my life." Irina stepped forward and said, "How dare you say that? If you want to fight, I'm ready to face you." Sylvie noticed how much she resembled Lydia and asked, "What's your relationship with Ard?" Irina confidently replied, "I'm his one and only dear friend." Sylvie smirked, "Then you'll be my friend too." Irina immediately said, "No." Sylvie laughed, "Then I'll have to fight you and make you tell me everything." Olivia sighed and said, "Then we'll change today's lesson and start a match." Ard objected, but Sylvie taunted him, "Are you scared? Your stomach always used to hurt at crucial moments, right?" Olivia added, "Why are you hesitating to spar with her? Why not teach her a lesson like you did with Oraldo?" Ard thought to himself, "This woman is trying to use Sylvie to confirm whether I'm the demon lord or not." He sighed and said, "Fine, I accept." They entered the arena, and Ard thought, "I have to lose spectacularly. There's no other choice." Sylvie attacked with her sword, and they clashed at high speed, sending out powerful shockwaves that the watching students could feel. Ard thought, "This is bad. Our fight is on such a high level that it's raising everyone's expectations of me." Sylvie mocked him, "What's wrong? Did my growth scare you? No matter what you do, you'll never be my match, you poor thing." Ard grew irritated, and thought, "No, I can't allow myself to get drawn in. I'll land a light hit and lose." He charged at her, thinking, she still hasn't gotten rid of her old habit of tilting her body before lunging. He struck her exposed point, but she blocked it and smirked. "I predicted what you were thinking." She swung her sword toward his face, but he shattered it, sending her flying and ending the fight with his sword pointed at her. Olivia announced, "The match goes to Ard." Ard thought, "This just made things worse. I let her lure me in and fought seriously." Sylvie stood up and shouted, "I won't accept this loss. I've become far stronger than the demon lord." She summoned an incredibly powerful sword. Ard warned, "No, don't use that technique," but she ignored him and struck with full force. Ard easily blocked it. Olivia stopped the fight and said, "Look around you. The entire place is in ruins, and your classmates are injured. This sword spreads toxic mana with every strike. You forgot that, and let your emotions control you. You haven't changed at all. You're still a child. Think about what Lydia would say if she saw you like this." Sylvie clenched her fists and said, "Why are you saying this to me? What the demon lord did was far worse than what I did." Irina cut her off and said, "Apologize when you make a mistake. I understand that you're strong, but that's an even bigger reason for you to avoid harming others with your strength." Ard was surprised because he had seen this exact scene before, but back then, it had been Lydia instead of Irina. Sylvie burst into tears and said, "I'm sorry." Irina comforted her, and Ard was stunned. This was exactly what Lydia used to do. Later, they discussed the play for the festival and decided on a story about the demon lord. Ard was chosen to play Varvatos, while Irina would play Lydia. Suddenly, they heard Sylvie screaming at someone. They rushed out and asked, "What's wrong?" She shouted, "It's their fault!" They saw me and started mocking me, saying I was a commoner who became arrogant. One of the nobles sneered, "Our class is full of nobility. We'll surely receive more praise and profit at the festival than you. No matter how hard commoners try, they'll never rise to the level of nobility." Irina scoffed, "Everything you just said is nonsense. The distinction between commoners and nobles is ridiculous. We will give the school our very best and fight with fairness and integrity." The nobles walked away, saying, "Don't come crying later." Meanwhile, the person who had told Sylvie about Ard was watching through a magical orb and smirked. "Are you enjoying yourself, Ard? I look forward to seeing how your new friend Sylvie reacts when she learns the truth about you." The next day, Ard and Irina patrolled the city, pretending they were just enjoying their time normally. Suddenly, an explosion occurred, and they rushed over to find Sylvie threatening an old man with her sword, saying, "You're acting suspiciously. Surrender yourself." Ard asked, "What's going on?" Sylvie replied, "This man is a demon." The old man wept and said, "No, you're mistaken." Sylvie insisted, "Most people with eyes like yours turn out to be demons." Olivia appeared and said, "Put your sword down. He's not a demon. He works at a restaurant I used to visit often, and I even trained under his supervision." Ard was shocked and thought, "Was this really one of my former military commanders?" Sylvie hesitated. "Was I wrong?" Olivia sighed. "There's no need for you to join the patrols." Sylvie looked disheartened and walked away. Irina glanced at a tree in front of her and told Ard, "I always get a strange feeling when I look at this tree." Ard replied, "As far as I remember, King Levilfithur was known as the Great Sword King, and he sealed something special in this place." Irina said, "Even my father said he doesn't know anything about it." Ard thought, "Even nobles don't know?" He then asked Olivia, "Do you know anything about this tree?" She replied, "I can't discuss this subject with you." Ard asked, "So that means it's important?" Olivia smirked. "Speaking of the Sword King, one of the main attractions of the school festival is the Sword King Battle Tournament, and I have announced my participation." Ard said, "Then the champion is already decided." Olivia grinned, "No, my victory isn't guaranteed because you're participating too. I submitted your application form." Ard protested, "But I'm already part of the play." Olivia responded, "There's no way you can't handle both." Later, they went to the arena. Irina's first match began, and she defeated her opponent with a single strike, as did Sylvie. When Olivia's turn came, her opponent surrendered without even trying, knowing her terrifying strength. Ard won his match and thought, "If I lose here, they'll assume I lost on purpose. If I'm going to lose, it has to be in the final rounds." Then, it was Jenny's turn. Her opponent was a strong contender expected to challenge Olivia. He attacked Jenny with full force, knocking her to the ground. Ard encouraged her, "It's still too early to give up." Jenny charged at her opponent with all her strength, created an opening, and defeated him. After leaving the arena, Jenny told Ard, "Since you're alone, come with me to the exhibition party, please." There, Ard spotted Eraldo and barely recognized him due to how much he had changed. The moment Eraldo saw Ard, he flinched in fear. Ard said, "I heard you locked yourself in your room since our fight." Eraldo stammered, "I didn't do anything wrong, please don't kill me." Ard asked, "Why are you here?" Eraldo replied, "I just came to watch the exhibition." When he saw Jenny on stage, he muttered, "Jenny has changed," and felt discouraged. Ard told him, "You've changed too." Eraldo sighed, "After meeting you, she became stronger and gained confidence in herself. My family has been responsible for serving and protecting her family for generations. In my childhood, Jenny was always by my side as a guard, but she was terrible at everything she did. That made me feel like I was supposed to protect her, but at the same time, I was frustrated by her slowness. My father always told me to act like the eldest son of a duke. I was raised believing that everyone outside nobility was nothing more than insects. That pressure weighed on me so much that, to escape it, I started insulting and bullying Jenny. But because of what I did, I left a curse on her heart that hasn't been lifted yet. Maybe my words mean nothing coming from me, but I feel relieved, because by defeating me that day, she earned the chance to change, and I'm sure half of her curse has been lifted by now. That's why I feel at peace." Ard asked, "And what about your own curse? Do you think you'll be freed from the curse of guilt and self-hatred?" Eraldo sighed, "That's probably something I'll have to bear for the rest of my life. I never even managed to apologize to her properly. I need to face her sincerely, lower my head in the right way, and atone for what I did. I doubt my curse will disappear even after that, but I'm afraid to face her." "I'm sure you wouldn't understand these feelings." Ard replied, "No, I carry a similar burden." he thought to himself. I still don't know how to confess to Sylvie about what I did. Geraldo chuckled. I used to think you were just a spoiled person who had everything handed to you, but I guess you've suffered too. He then left. Jenny won the grand prize, and Ard said, well done. They returned to the arena to continue the tournament, and the awaited match between Ard and Olivia began. Olivia pressured Ard with relentless attacks, which he deflected and pushed her back. She launched another assault and pressed him hard, finally reaching his neck with her sword. Ard activated defensive magic and sent her flying out of the arena. The referee declared his loss for using forbidden magic. The next match was between Irina and Jenny. Jenny attacked, and the two clashed intensely. Irina leaped forward and ended the fight. The next day, the play began. Ard felt embarrassed acting as his old self in the play, but was reminded of his battle against Avia de Savers. He recalled standing with Lydia in front of the enemy fortress, saying to his soldiers, we'll follow our usual plan, Lydia, and I will attack first and gather information. Avia sneered, talk all you want, you won't have the chance to do that tomorrow. That night, Sylvie approached Varvatos and asked, am I useless? I can fight, and I won't be a burden to you. Varvatos replied, Lydia and I both acknowledge that. But Lydia doesn't want to lose you, because she's considering making you her successor. You might be reckless and quick to anger like Lydia, but few people work as hard for others as you do. Sylvie said, but I want to help my sister. Varvatos sighed, do whatever you want, and I'll take responsibility, even though you should think about yourself, because if you die, I'll be devastated. The next day, Avia declared, you may have defeated many of my soldiers, but now you'll fall to my greatest and most powerful weapon, the legendary sword, Dimisarge. The moment they took a step, a magic circle beneath them activated and exploded, as did the rest of his soldiers. Lydia lunged at him and took him down. Sylvie laughed and said my plan worked. Varvatos turned to her. You set up these traps? Sylvie grinned. Yes, I earned the greatest honor this time. Varvatos asked, do you remember exactly where you placed the traps? Sylvie hesitated. I set them all over the battlefield. It's impossible to remember them all. Varvatos chuckled. Then how are we supposed to get out of here? The play ended, and the audience cheered. Sylvie then spotted a girl whose hair resembled Lydia's and ran toward her, only to realize it wasn't her. Feeling dejected, she whispered, I miss you, sister. At that moment, the masked man who had confronted her after she left Dimas appeared before her. The next day, Ard asked Jenny, I wonder where Sylvie is now? Jenny smirked. I think ever since I helped her yesterday in the play, she's fallen for you. I expect you'll be getting a love confession soon. Just then, Sylvie appeared, looking down and told Ard, I will win the tournament for sure. After the match, meet me at the Sword King's tree. The tournament began, and the match between Sylvie and Irina started. Sylvie moved at an incredible speed, and ended the fight with a single strike, knocking Irina unconscious. That night, Sylvie stood by the tree, holding a massive sword. Ard arrived, and she said, I've been watching you since you came here, trying to figure out whether you are truly Varvatos or not. Honestly, I feel an overwhelming urge to kill you. Her eyes glowed red, and suddenly, both the sword and the tree began to shine. She declared, this is the legendary sword, Vald Galgal, the weapon Lydia loved, and it was sealed within the Sword King's tree. She then summoned the Dimisarge's sword and charged at him. Ard dodged all her attacks and flew into the air. Sylvie pursued him, and Ard thought, someone must have brainwashed her. The masked man watched them from afar, recalling how he had told Sylvie, Ard Meteor is the demon lord. Sylvie had hesitated. I don't think that's true. The masked man had smirked. Then I'll force you to become my puppet. He had placed his hand on her head, showing her an illusion of Varvatos killing Lydia, and commanded, kill your enemy. Sylvie slashed Ard, knocking him to the ground. Tears streamed down her face as she whispered, I missed you, sister. Irina appeared and shouted, do you even realize what you're doing? Sylvie furiously attacked her. Irina tried to block the sword with a magic barrier, but Jenny cast a fire spell at Sylvie, which had no effect. Jenny then rushed toward her, but Sylvie kicked her, sending her flying. Sylvie turned her sword toward Irina again, but Ard appeared in his Varvatos form and stopped her attack. Sylvie slashed at him, and he attempted to use cancellation magic to dispel the mind control, but it didn't work. He drew his sword and blocked her strike. Sylvie kept attacking, while Ard dodged, waiting for an opening to knock her unconscious. Suddenly, she heard Lydia's voice saying, stop. Sylvie snapped back to reality. The masked man appeared and knocked Sylvie to the ground. Ard asked, you're the one who brainwashed her. The masked man smirked, and what if I am? Ard narrowed his eyes. What's your goal? The masked man replied, our goal is to bring back our lord. To accomplish that, we need to sacrifice this girl, which makes you an obstacle in our way. He grabbed both legendary swords and attacked Ard. Ard dodged, but the masked man charged again. Ard severed his arm. The masked man tried to activate Dimus Argus, but the sword electrocuted him, causing it to drop from his grasp. Ard said, "Legendary swords choose their wielders, and it seems you weren't chosen." He picked up the sword, activated it, and turned the masked man into ashes. Lydia's lingering energy within the sword appeared and gently held Sylvie, whispering, "You haven't changed at all. Don't blame Varvatos. It wasn't his fault. There's still good in this world, so live and enjoy life. We'll meet again someday." And on the next day, Ard, Jenny, and Irina are riding a carriage, and while they are on their way, time suddenly stops, and they are transported to another dimension, where they find a small child with white hair standing before them, saying, "Welcome, chosen ones." Ard asks him, "Are you a demon?" He replies, "Humans tend to call the unknown evil, so in that sense, I might indeed be a demon. But if you focus on my nature, I am not a demon. If I were to be described using your language, the proper term would be leader." Ard asks him, "What do you want from us?" He replies, "There are an infinite number of worlds, and the past and future repeat endlessly, with the past never returning. But there is a strange entity that seeks to disrupt the order, change the rules, and alter the world. A meeting between this entity and the Demon King will shake your world greatly, and one of them will cease to exist." Ard asks, "Can you simplify this so we can understand?" He replies, "I want you to eliminate this entity." They wake up, and Ard says, "It seems we have been transported to the past." Jenny asks him, "How do you know?" He replies, "As you can see, there are 2 moons in the sky, and that is an impossible sight in our world. In the past, an event caused the loss of one of the moons, and it happened in ancient times. Based on the surrounding area, I believe we are in the Machina region of the kingdom of Vardia, the great nation ruled by the demon king Varvatos. Assuming the leader's words are true, we won't make any progress unless we meet the demon king." They hear a girl screaming, and see her running from a giant scorpion. Irina says, "This is completely different from what exists in our world." Ard replies, "This might not be our concern, but we have to help her." Ard draws multiple magic circles and fires at it, causing an explosion. Olivia appears and says, "You are very strong, thank you for saving my subordinate." Irina and Jenny say, "That's Olivia." She asks them, "Have we met before?" Ard tries to smooth things over and says, "They must have heard about you and respect your reputation." Olivia uses powerful magic that makes them lose consciousness, but Ard is unaffected. She asks him, "Why didn't you pass out?" He replies, "You didn't use enough magic." She says, "Follow me." The next day they are in her house, and Irina and Jenny are surprised by how the place looks. Olivia tells Ard, "You seem interested in the state of the city." He replies, "Yes, it has been a long time since I last visited this area. Can I ask why you brought us here?" She replies, "To recruit you into our forces. As you know, this is the era of powerful heroes, and we are under attack from outsiders. Since then, the demons who gave birth to them have clashed with humanity in fierce battles, and the war we are in now is due to our king Varvatos, who is developing human magic. You are skilled in using magic, as you unleashed all that power so easily, so you could contribute greatly to our cause." He replies, "I see. In other words, you can't let someone this powerful roam freely, but I have 2 conditions. The first is that you allow these 2 girls to join me." She asks, "Do you want them to die quickly?" He replies, "I will protect them, of course, and my second condition is that we enlist in Verda's forces." She asks, "Do you understand what you are saying?" He replies, "Yes, of course." She says, "A strong man like you wants logistical support. All you will be doing is providing supplies of weapons, food and medical aid." He replies, "Contrary to appearances, we are just young magic students, and I have no ambitions." She says, "It is true that most of our army consists of scholars and researchers. They are not skilled in combat, so most of their duties revolve around logistics and healing, and their death rate is the lowest in our army." He replies, "If you accept these 2 conditions, we will serve His Majesty from today." She says, "Agreed. I will use my authority to place you directly under her command." After that, they go to Verda's research center. Ard thinks to himself, if we are in her army, the chances of these 2 being exposed to danger will decrease significantly, even though doing this pains me greatly. Suddenly, the center explodes before them, and Verda appears, saying, "I knew I could do it. The experiment is perfect." She restores the research center, and as they enter, she tells them, "People coming to join my division. That rarely happens. Are you admirers of mine?" Ard replies, "Let me clarify the reason we came to you," and tells her, "We came from the future," explaining everything. Verda gets excited and says, "I will help you find a way to return to your era." Suddenly, Sylvie enters and starts chasing Verda, and then Lydia enters, shocking Ard. Lydia grabs Verda and says, "I told you that you aren't sending enough support troops. Are you mocking me?" Verda replies, "Then you can use these 3. But Ard provokes Lydia, and she tells him, "Fight me outside." Art goes out to face her, and Lydia attacks him with incredibly fast punches, which he blocks. She tricks him by throwing sand in his eyes, then kicks him and lands a powerful punch to his stomach, sending him flying. Art rushes toward her and punches, but she hits his chin first and lifts him off the ground. He braces himself against her head and kicks her, knocking her down. Then, they start exchanging punches. By sunset, they are both exhausted, and the fight ends in a draw. She tells him, "You are really strong. Bring the 2 girls with you, and be our support unit. Honestly, I want you on the front lines, but I'm sure you have your reasons." He replies, "Since you figured that out, don't ask for the impossible." She says, "I need your strength." He remembers when she fought him before, and said the exact same words. He asks her, "I heard about your connection with the Demon King. Can you arrange a meeting with him?" She replies, "I don't mind, but even if I recommend it, he will hate the idea. If you want to meet him, accomplish something to earn his trust." He opens his heart to those who gain his trust. And at night, Ard stands alone, and Latima, Lydia's maid, enters and tells him, "You will be staying in the palace here until our next campaign. Lydia told me to tell you that you have the freedom to use this place, as if it were your own home or the home of a close friend." He thinks to himself, "The home of a close friend? I killed someone irreplaceable with my own hands. Do I really have the right to consider her a close friend?" The next day, Ard is with Verda's forces, in a state of alert, stationed far from the front lines. "We won't engage in a major battle with the enemy, and even if that happens, these magic tools will definitely protect you." He thinks to himself, based on Verda and Lydia's conversation, we are in the past era. Back then, when I was the Demon King, I expanded my forces, and the battle against the demons and outsiders was entering its final stages. The demons ruled this area, as far as I remember, and I overthrew the combined forces of Lydia's army and Verda's army, along with many fortresses and castles, which laid the foundation for our dominance over the continent. But I don't recall any issues from this battle. Lydia's forces attack the enemy army, and suddenly, an assault is launched on Verda's troops. Someone is using lightning magic against the soldiers and approaching Ard. Ard says, "I see, he plans to crush the army's supplies and medics, one of the fundamental war strategies. My assumption that we would be safe here was wrong, but this works in our favor. This may not be enough to meet the Demon King, but it is an achievement." Lydia's forces breach the enemy's fortress, and she thinks to herself, "Something is strange. The commander hasn't shown himself even after we got this far." One of the soldiers tells her, "I have a report. The Verda army backing us from behind was ambushed by the enemy. Their numbers weren't large, but they were led by Commander Bolgan." Lydia is shocked and rushes to them. At the same time, the commander approaches Ard but steps into a trap and is eliminated. Lydia and Sylvie arrive, and Lydia says, "It looks like this ended before we even got here." Ard replies, "He wasn't even worth killing, but even if the military commander was this weak, he was still a leader, so I made sure to capture him alive." She says, "Weak? That was the great military commander we had been struggling to defeat. Whatever the case, you're impressive. It's only a matter of time before you meet Varvatos." The next day, she takes them to the royal palace, and Irina and Jenny are amazed by its magnificence. Ard feels proud because he was the one who built it. As they approach the gate, a fire magic projectile is launched from it, and Ard surrounds them with a magic barrier. A strange person appears and says, "Sorry, you can consider that a compliment for your achievement." Ard replies, "I've heard a lot about you, Alvardo." Lydia tells him, "You never change. If you want to fight, then I'll take you on." He says, "I could never face the hero, of course." Varvatos appears and says, "Why are you causing trouble? I don't recall summoning you, Alvardo. Leave immediately, or else." He replies, "Understood, we'll leave now," then says to Ard, "Follow me." As soon as Varvatos sits on his throne, the servants gather around him, but he tells them to leave. Jenny says, "The Demon King is truly amazing." Varvatos replies, "Who are you referring to as the Demon King?" Ard says, "She just used the other name your majesty is known by. Nothing more. It's just the title they heard at the port. Don't you know it?" He thinks to himself, strange. The title of Demon King had already spread by this time. Varvatos says, "I know someone else who is known as the Demon King." Ard is shocked and replies, "We may have misunderstood. I apologize for this odd slip." Ard later goes to Verda and tells her, "He didn't ask anything from us, and I didn't want to talk to him further about the title." Verda, there must be a discrepancy in perception between who you consider the Demon King and who is known as the Demon King in our time. There's a possibility that your history is different from the history in our dimension, and that's just a theory. But I believe someone has altered history, and this change led to the appearance of this world's Demon King, whom you don't recognize. Ard remembers the leader's words about an entity trying to disrupt the order and tells Verda, I think we misunderstood the leader's message. He asked us to meet the Demon King and eliminate the strange entity, but if we assume both requests are the same thing. Jenny says, that means the one altering history is this world's Demon King, and if we defeat him, we'll restore our history and be able to return to our world. Irina asks, why don't we ask Varvatos for help with this? Verda replies, impossible, because this world's Demon King appeared out of nowhere 3 years ago, and took control of the lands between the outsiders' territory and ours in an instant. We still don't know his goal, and we tried negotiating with him, but he ignored us. Varvatos fought him before but couldn't defeat him. Ard says, I see, Varvatos won't act without a convincing reason. Verda replies, you understand Varvatos quite well. He says, we might be able to persuade him if we achieve a greater accomplishment. Lydia enters and tells him, during the battle, you will join me on the front lines. Ard gets excited and says understood. On the way, Lydia asks him, why did you suddenly agree when you had asked to join the logistics support? He replies, you could say, this is what we needed. She says, it was wise to leave the 2 girls behind this time. He asks, who are we facing? She replies, the King of Curses Mephiles. Ard is shocked and Sylvie says, looks like you felt fear. He replies, I've heard his name before. She says, just his name. Mages are ranked from 1st to 7th and demons have ranks too, and Mephiles is the highest rank among demons. He thinks to himself, there's no way I could forget him. Mephiles is one of the reasons I killed Lydia. They reach the fortress and find themselves facing an army of skeletons. Sylvie charges at them, but Ard uses wind magic and wipes them all out. Thinking to himself, this time, I won't let history repeat itself like before. Suddenly, they see flames inside the fortress, and they rush in, finding all the enemies burning, and Mephiles' head falls to the ground. A figure in armor and a helmet appears and tells them, you're late. Ard asks, who are you? The figure replies, you already have an idea. I am the Demon King, a violent, tyrannical beast, and the enemy of the world. Deliver my message to your commander. I will take the lands I have set my eyes on, and if he wants them back, he can come and claim them by force. Then, he vanishes before them. And on the next day, they hold a meeting regarding the Demon King. One of Varvatos' attendants speaks and tells Olivia, wait, there are people here who shouldn't be attending this meeting. Another responds, these fighters have earned the admiration of Lady Verda and Lydia, so we must accept their participation. Varvatos says, Council of 7, these are Lydia's guests, and we cannot ignore their contributions to the war. Then he tells Ard, I've changed my mind about the Demon King. With his declaration of war, we must defeat him. We will face him with the full force of our armies, and end this in a single day. One of the members asks, do you mean we will deploy all 4 heavenly kings on the battlefield at the same time? Varvatos replies, and I intend to enter the battlefield personally. Another member responds, if you do that, the defenses of all regions will be left unguarded, and the enemy forces will attack us all at once. Varvatos says, your concern is valid, and that is why we will finish everything in a single day. Ard asks, but the Demon King declared himself immortal. How do we defeat him? Varvatos replies, that's a secret. He then announces, the battle will begin in 3 days. My order to you is to destroy the enemy's fortress. Afterward, Ard returns to his room and thinks to himself, history should have changed. Those who were supposed to die are still alive, and Lydia hasn't been cursed. The leader told us to correct history, so if we return and things remain this way, the Demon King appears and says, what you're thinking will happen exactly. Ard asks him, do you need something from me, Demon King? He replies, the history they established won't be overturned so easily. At this stage, a massive corrective force will move, and Lydia will meet her fate in the end. Ard asks, are you from a different era as well? The Demon King says, stop with the knave act. I know you are Ard Meteor, so there's no need to keep up this mask. I am you, and you are me. Will you continue wearing your mask while standing in front of a mirror? Ard asks, what do you mean? The Demon King removes his helmet, and Ard is shocked to see that he is indeed himself. The Demon King tells him, there's no need for surprise. I was sent to this era, so it's not strange that this happened to me. It's true that we are the same person, but the worlds we were born in were different, which led us to experience different things. But both of us lived as Varvatos, and later transitioned to another world as Ard Meteor. I gained many things before losing them quickly. But you haven't lost anything yet, have you? Things didn't go well for me, so I abandoned the name Ard Meteor. Now, I am known as the ultimate failure, and the wandering disaster. Ard asks, how did you come to this era? The Demon King replies, the same way you did, the moment I accepted the leader's offer. I found myself in this era. It's ironic, to achieve my goal, I had to take on the name I once despised. Ard asks, your goal, what are you planning to do? The Demon King replies, I will save Lydia. I want to atone for my sin. And this applies to you as well, doesn't it? Stand with me. We don't need to fight. Ard tells him, I have 2 questions. Did you discuss this with my counterpart from this era? The Demon King replies, no, I hate myself more than anything, and my counterpart in this era, especially, since my foolishness led to losing Lydia and forced me to kill her myself. Ard asks, why are you fighting my counterpart in this era? If your goal is to save Lydia, opposing him is pure foolishness. The Demon King replies, certain circumstances prevent me from cooperating with him. No matter what happens, fate has decreed that I must fight him. Just as the leader gave you a mission, he gave me a mission as well, to destroy this world. Ard is shocked and asks, what does destroying the world have to do with saving Lydia? The Demon King replies, do you remember how Lydia died? Ard says, of course, I could never forget. The Demon King says, then it's impossible for you not to understand how I feel. The curse invaded her mind. She lost her allies, and countless things like that crushed her until the day it all ended. Ard replies, to face the last of the outsiders in battle, I had to take a huge risk, and it was unbearable for me. I thought of turning a blind eye and ignoring the final enemy. But when I weighed Lydia's life against eliminating all the outsiders, I chose to kill Lydia. The Demon King grabs him and says, why didn't you tell her how you felt? If you had, this wouldn't have happened. It was my mistake. Lydia going into enemy territory alone was my mistake. Losing her in battle and her turning into a threat to the world. I couldn't bear the guilt, so I took my own life. But the world didn't let me rest. When I was transported to another world as Ard Meteor, everything was taken from me, my goals, my hopes, my dreams. At that point, I was certain I was only accumulating more sins. So now, I want to put an end to everything. I want to atone for my sin and finish it all. I will save Lydia, become a villain hated by the world, and let her kill me. After I force Lydia onto the path I was made to walk, everything will finally be over for me, and you need to prepare to commit this sin with me. As Ard reaches out his hand, he hears Lydia's voice saying, don't do anything reckless, and he stops. The Demon King tells him, I'll give you time to think, I'll wait for your answer in 3 days, at the Forbidden Lands. Later, Ard walks with Latima, and on their way, he asks her, have you known Lydia for a long time? She replies, yes. He asks, if you had to choose between your life and Lydia's, which would you pick? She replies, that's a foolish question, I would do anything for Lydia. After that, he goes with Lydia to the village. She tries to make him enjoy his time, but she ends up having fun instead. They get into an argument and start fighting until they're both exhausted. She asks, did that clear your head? He replies, you're perceptive, even though you're an idiot. Then he asks her, if you had to sacrifice everything to regain something you lost, or someone dear to you, what would you do? She replies, come, I'll show you something. She takes him to a ruined, abandoned place and tells him, this is the sin I committed. The ghosts of the souls she killed appear, and she says to Ard, I know I have to face them, but I just keep running away. This was a town inhabited only by demons, and we attacked this place in the past. It was a strategic point for us in the war, a place we had to seize no matter what it took. Bringing down the fortress and its defenses was easy, but holding on to it was difficult. The people of this town refused to listen to us, and attacked us at night, so we decided to kill them all. If we hadn't done that, we would have sacrificed our friends. Maybe the ones who should really be called monsters are people like us. I will fight, keep fighting, and carve my path through battle. And after I create a world where there is no threat to humanity and no one suffers, not even demons, only then will I die a miserable and wretched death. I am not someone worth you bending your principles and sacrificing yourself to save. Ard asks her, and what about our feelings? If you die that way, she replies, I must atone for my sins. At the very least, I have to do that, or I won't be able to die with my head held high, so please, don't try to change how I die. The next day, the battles continue against demons, enemies, and dragons. Alvardo draws multiple magic circles and Varvatos uses them to create black holes that pull the dragons inside. Sylvie and Lydia continue fighting with swords on the ground, and Sylvie says, this would be easier if Ard were here, but he went somewhere. Lydia replies, I think he has something important to deal with. Sylvie, I'll leave things here to you. At the same time, Ard and the Demon King are in the Forbidden Lands. The Demon King asks him, what is your answer? Will you save Lydia with me? Ard replies, I will not save Lydia. The Demon King asks, how did you come to that decision? Ard replies, because she doesn't want to be saved. She wants to let go of the title of hero and die in a way that atones for her sins. That's what she told me. The Demon King uses his magic and fires beams from the sky, but Ard dodges them and counters with the same magic, though it has no effect on him. The Demon King then uses fire magic beneath Ard, forcing him to jump quickly. He surrounds Ard with magic circles, but Ard tells him that's a pathetic technique and cancels all the circles before landing on the ground. He then uses magic on the Demon King, pressing down on him with immense force. However, the Demon King negates the pressure and says, grasping the full extent of magic and crafting a spell to nullify it was always a skill of mine. Ard replies, it seems we won't be able to reach a conclusion. The Demon King says, I knew I couldn't make you my enemy. Do you think I didn't anticipate things reaching this point? Do you know why I made the day of your answer the same day the war begins? At the same time, Latima takes Jenny and Irina and tells them, our departure is part of Ard's plan. Ard discovered the reason behind the Demon King's immortality and ordered me to head with you to the fortress controlled by the Demon King. Feria asks her, why did he tell you and not us directly? She replies, because this mission is highly secret and extremely important. They stop, and Irina asks, can you tell us the flaw? Latima replies, Ard deduced that the Demon King's immortality is due to the use of the secret technique, separating the soul and sealing it in a suitable vessel. Death occurs only when both the body and soul are lost at the same time. That's why separating them essentially makes someone immortal. Ard said this technique has two weaknesses. The first is that the user must stay within a certain distance from the vessel, and the second is that immortality is lost if the vessel is destroyed. Most likely, the Demon King is keeping his vessel in the fortress he controls. Ard discovered a secret passage to the fortress, and we will use it. Irina asks, why us? Why would Ard leave such an important role to us? Jenny encourages her and says, that's not like you, Irina. You're the type to be excited in moments like this. In times like these, you get fired up and rush in. Irina replies, you're right, we'll do it. Suddenly, Latima jumps in front of them, pushing them away as she gets injured in her leg. She tells them, I'll hold off the enemies. Go quickly. At the same time, Verda destroys demons with her mechanical golem and laser guns, while the others use magic to wipe out the army. Irina and Jenny reach the vessel, but as they approach, a trap activates beneath them, restraining them. Latima appears and says, this spell seals your magical power. Meanwhile, the Demon King shows Ard that Irina and Jenny are being held captive and tells him, if you value their lives, join me. Ard asks, what will happen to them if I refuse? The Demon King replies, nothing. This is just a performance. Ard says, you're just trying to give me an excuse, aren't you? To make me tell them that you forced me to join you to save the hostages. The Demon King says, I know Lydia will die feeling satisfaction, instead of sorrow, but what about our feelings? We had to kill our dearest friend with our own hands, and encouraged her to take the path that led to this. We will bear this sin forever, even if Lydia wants a tragic end. Isn't it natural for us to wish her happiness instead? I will take countless lives to ensure Lydia stays alive. And I will push the world to the brink of destruction, if that's what it takes to save her. The lives of others mean nothing to me. There must be a part of you, deep in your heart, that shares this feeling with me, so why are you hesitating? If you're still uncertain, I'll give you another reason. I may not harm the two girls, but I can't guarantee what will happen if Varvetos' army reaches this fortress. Ard tells him, placing your vessel here was part of your calculations. The Demon King replies, let me simplify it for you. If you don't want to lose them, join me. At the same time, Irina asks Latima, why are you doing this? Latima replies, there is only one motive behind my actions, Lydia. You don't need to know the details. You are just tools to manipulate Ard. Jenny tells her, I can get us out of this. Latima asks, what can you do when you can't use magic? Jenny replies, it's true we can't use magic, but we can use script magic. They activate it and free themselves. Latima summons a group of monsters, but suddenly, Lydia appears and eliminates them. Irina asks her, how did you know we were here? Lydia replies, the hairpins I gave you are magical tools that monitor your current state. She tells Latima surrender. Latima replies, no, we will destroy the world to save you. Lydia says, I understand that all of you feel this way. She charges at the monsters, eliminating them, then strikes Latima, knocking her unconscious. More monsters appear, and Lydia attacks them, before leaping forward and breaking the Demon King's vessel. At the same time, Ard tells the Demon King, do you really want to save Lydia? You're just running away. What you truly want is to save yourself from the guilt of killing Lydia. You want to forgive yourself and die in peace, and you're using Lydia for that. You're a coward. Both of us have always acted based on our own selfish emotions without thinking about others' feelings. So why don't we do something for someone else for the first time in our lives? We need to fulfill Lydia's wish. The Demon King gets angry and shouts, silence. He charges his energy and says, yes, you're right, I want to forgive myself and save myself. But even so, I won't let you deny my true feelings for Lydia. Both of them summon Lydia's spirit, transform into their Demon King forms, and engage in a fierce battle. The Demon King asks Ard, why did you take your own life? Wasn't it because you couldn't bear the loneliness? How dare someone like you accuse me of running away? Have you forgotten our last words to Lydia? Ard replies, I could never forget them. They remember the past when Lydia asked him, "What are you thinking about?" He replied, "What do you mean?" She asked, "Why did you accept their request to end the fighting?" He answered, "We will stop fighting and form a truce against aggression. We will allow them to rule their lands, but we won't acknowledge the formation of a demon country. We will bear the consequences." She asked, "How can you trust them? We have to crush them now. This is our chance." He said, "I won't change my mind no matter what." She replied, "I thought we had the same ambition, you traitor." He asked her, "Have you ever considered my feelings?" She answered, "I don't care about your feelings." He told her, "If you want to fight them, then do it on your own. I don't care about what you do anymore." The Demon King tells him, "I should never have said those words. I never intended to say them. I should have been honest, and told her how I truly felt, that I didn't want her to die. I won't allow Lydia to meet such a tragic end. I will save her." He strikes Ard with his sword with full force. Suddenly, Lydia's spirit appears and grabs the Demon King's sword. Ard says, "I understand. If this is your wish, I will do it." He strikes the Demon King with his sword and says, "It's over, you wandering disaster, my other self." The Demon King asks, "Do you really think this will make things better? Remember the days we spent with Lydia, and what she meant to us, please, I beg you. I can't fail. I finally understood my feelings for her after losing her. I wanted to save her. I loved her." Ard grips his sword and pierces the Demon King's heart. Ard begins to glow, and at the same time, Irina, Jenny, and Lydia start glowing. Lydia tells them, "It looks like you're going home." Jenny asks, "You knew?" Lydia replies, "Kind of. Can I ask you something? What is the future like? Is the world a place where everyone can live with smiles?" Irina feels sorrow and remains silent, as does Jenny, but she reassures Lydia, "The world is as wonderful as you wished, Lydia." Irina follows and says, "I enjoy every day, even though we argue sometimes, but we are happy. I think it truly is a world where everyone smiles." Lydia replies, "I see. So our sacrifices weren't in vain. Can I ask you to deliver one last message?" She moves closer and whispers it to them. They return to their world, and Varvatos calls off the war. Ard is transported to the dimension of the leader, who tells him, "I am impressed with your completion of the mission." Ard asks, "Who exactly are you? What are you trying to achieve?" The leader replies, "There are no words to describe us, but I hope you believe me. At the very least, I am your ally." Ard says, "Even so, I hope we never meet again." The leader replies, "I hope so too." The three wake up, and Sylvie tells them, "We've arrived." Olivia says, "Get off quickly. The other students have already started." Sylvie steps down and says, "It's been a long time since I last came to the old royal capital, Kingsglaive." Irina tells Ard, "Lydia left you a message. She said, no matter what happens, we will always be best friends." Ard's eyes fill with tears, and he feels Lydia's presence pushing him forward. He looks ahead and sees her spirit, gesturing for him to move forward and continue his life.